All right, thank you, thank you. We're going to have a very good show today. Um, One of the things that people tend to not understand about how the world works is that many of the things that we hear in the Black community, and especially on Black YouTube, is actually a lie. When I was 19, I had the fortunate to make some connections when I left my area. I left my area, went to Seattle, a place I knew nothing about, just wanted to get away. And I did what people did back in the Napoleon times. I went and I traveled and I explored. I put a backpack on and I just figured it out as I went. What it did was it corrected your mouth, corrected your presentation. It made you listen more when you're unprotected. And what I learned when I made a connection, I went overseas, lived in Romania, I lived in France, I lived in England, I lived in the grill, no military, on my own, little money, barely making it, but I was experiencing. So when I came back to America, I realized that America tells so many lies. And one of the lies we're going to talk about today. Normally, you guys know I interview Africans, I interview white people. Check out the interview I had with the white guy. Uh, I try to put myself as a Black man in intellectual, strategic places. I don't want to be in just circle jerk areas where everybody echoes the same thing. So today we have a young lady who has spoken on other panels about interacting with older guys. And we're going to do this interview style. We're going to ask questions, we're going to learn, we're going to listen. If anybody wants to call in, you can do that through the email. You will not get the link. You will not get the link, but you can call in via the email that I provide. And we're just going to have a conversation about her viewpoint on older guys. So let's get to it. Miss Natural, I like using that name. You guys know how I like chocolate women, and this is a very nice chocolate lady. Intellectual, though. Miss Natural, how are you? Unmute yourself.
Having an issue here. Hold on.
Oh, you good. You good. You good. I just heard you. You're having an issue here. While she gets that together, let me point out these are very original conversations. As you guys know, I try to have conversations that are highly intellectual and not all of that garbage. Um, but this should be a good, fun thing for people to kind of get an understanding of how the world works. That way, we don't get caught up in some of the Black YouTube lies and things of that nature. You good, Miss Natural? Okay. While she continued to get herself together, let me also tell you about me. So I work in medical finance, as you know. When I interact with women, my girlfriend's 25. Um, Being an older guy, dealing with older women. Let me start there. Being a guy dealing with older women, you're dealing with somebody from different cultural understanding. They're either appreciative of Black men, or they feel black men should serve them. That's how it goes. Younger women have less of those concerns because younger women are still looking at younger guys like, what are you doing? What are you talking about? And for a lot of us older men, we seem more settled and established to the younger ladies because it's less drama with us. Doesn't mean that 10 or 20 dudes are not out of pocket, but the majority of us as older dudes, we're in better environments doing better things. Let's check in with Miss Natural to see if she's ready. Miss Natural?
Yes, I am. My Bluetooth is acting weird. It usually
Oh,
works, but yeah. I'm just
it's
gonna
all good.
have it on speaker.
Yeah, wing it from
Yeah.
there.
So So you have a specific question, or do you want me to just elaborate on what you just said?
Well, I'll let you elaborate, but let me take you into a specific thing first for the sake of the audience. So, first of all, you're in your 20s and you're in college. Okay. Am I correct?
Yes.
All right. And I don't get too much of your personal information. I just want to keep it kind of vague so people get a roundabout view. She is not an ugly woman. You know, she's a very nice looking lady, and she has a brain, and it's very intellectual. So we applaud that. Let's take you into something uncomfortable to talk about. Talk to me about protecting women. How do you view that men should protect women?
Um. Okay. So as far as a relationship, like a romantic relationship, or just men in general protecting women that they know that they are around. And you just
Let's
mean like,
let's do the romantic first, and we'll do the other next.
okay, romantic relationships. I guess protection is like, it means like more than one thing. I guess like if a woman is in danger, let's just say that, then he should be able to protect her. He should protect her honor as well. If a man is harassing her, whether it be sexually or just trying to assault her or whatever, and a man should stick up for his woman, protect as far as protection goes. If things are being said or about her, or there's people are just that she's in a toxic environment, then that can be like a form of protection to shield her from that kind of thing.
Should he be protecting her from herself?
From herself, well, if she's by nature a person who's not very self-aware, and it does things to, I guess, put herself in harm's way of a lot of things, whether emotional or financial or physical turmoil. I It's hard for me to say he should even be with a woman like that. She needs to work on herself first. 'Cause when you say like protecting him from herself, to me that strikes as somebody who doesn't know how to carry themselves in a way that doesn't put them in harm's way, whether it be financial, emotional, or physical.
So let me also share something with you. So protecting a woman from herself generally means that she is oblivious to the things that she puts herself into that
Hmm.
she is going to ask her husband to get her out of. For example, some
Okay.
girlfriends may not really be her friends, but she may be so much enthralled in womanhood that she doesn't realize it. Certain positions or jobs are necessarily not her end goal, but she's so thought of being in control of it that she's willing to struggle just to get that extra $2 when this other position, even though it's boring, pays more money. It's those type of things. What do you think of that?
Yeah, that's what I meant by financial and emotional. Dealing with women that are not that are really not her friends, or snakes in the grass, and then the whole thing about struggling. That's what I meant by financial, and I just didn't give specific examples. But yeah, what I think about that is, I mean, how should a man like protect a woman from that? Well, if she doesn't take his advice, that's all a man can really do is lead. All he can do is just say, lay it out, like, this is what needs to happen. This is my advice to you. If she doesn't take it, there's really nothing else to explain. You know, that's just my view on it. Like, just lay it on the line. Just explain, like, explicitly that this would happen if you did this, and this would happen if you didn't do this, kind of thing. And you shouldn't hang out with those women, because like if a man like came to me and said that stuff, like I was hanging out with the wrong like type of women, I would consider that, because not everyone is your friend. And also with when it comes to financial advice, I'm always looking for financial advice. Like, I want to become an entrepreneur. I want to open up a health food business, and I would love to be honest, if I had to like be, I have to do an internship at the end of my graduation, and I would love to like have a man teach me that kind of stuff about like entrepreneurship.
It's a very unique thing, and this is why I wanted to single you out. First of all, over here at Mr. Research, what we do, we try to deal more specifics and less generalities. So try your best to give us as many specifics as possible, because even though I have a small fan base, my fan base are high intellectual people. They look at the specifics of things.
All
Um,
right.
yeah, so they're really big on specificity. I noticed the rest of the YouTube world deals in generalities, and I think that's what curses the Black community so much. But that's a different topic. Let's deal with the generalities and specifics. Let me also ask you this here. So, if a man is, let's call him seasoned or experienced, let's not put an age on it. Let's call it seasoned and experienced.
Okay.
Do you believe that he is somebody who excels at specifics or generalities?
Specifics, definitely. Um, Talking to older men in general, they're more specific with a lot of their like because they have more experience. I mean, sorry, I shouldn't have said older, but men who are seasoned, they know more. It's like with any given it's like anybody who is seasoned in any facet of life, any job. Like let's say a detective. You're talking to a detective that's seasoned, and in the other words you said, they're gonna know so much about like Joe Kenda, for example. That man knows a lot about his craft and his field. And so talking to someone like him, he would know more than a rookie cop or anything like that, because he's seasoned. They specifically speaking, yes, they would like. I guess that's a good example. Yeah, him. He knows more about he's been through it all. He's seen everything or almost everything, and he's had to go through the motions. He's had the trials and tribulations. He's up there, when it comes to knowing things. So it's really like it's hard for him to not know certain things about his field and about his craft because he's just experienced it. The experience is there, you know.
So let me ask you the follow-up question. So why do you think in the Black community going after seasoned men is not the norm?
That's a good question.
Got a lot of good
Um,
questions over here. That's why I had to isolate you. I had to make your brain activate. Go ahead.
okay, so why that's not, I guess because it's not sought after in the Black community because it's not respected, I guess. Um, they're like, as far as women go, a lot of Black women, I guess, I could say have this kind of like, you can't tell me anything type of attitude, even the ones my age or younger, because of what they've seen their mothers and grandmothers go through, as far as like, oftentimes being a single mother and having to learn things and figure things out on their own. So they kind of they it's almost like a genetic memory thing. They develop that chip on their shoulder before they even really experienced anything like single motherhood or having to get it from the muscle, basically.
So here's a conundrum. Why is it majority of other races think opposite? Why is it majority of Latins seek experience? Why is it majority of Asians seek experience? You're less likely to see an Asian girl with a non-functioning Asian guy. You're less likely to see an Asian girl with a non-functioning white guy. You're less likely to see uh, uh, a white
Latin
woman,
girl?
huh?
Oh, I said Latin girl.
Latin girl. You're less likely to see a Latin girl with a guy that's just existing, even though it does happen. You're less likely. So why is it this community goes after Tank Top Tony first?
Hmm.
Told you I was gonna make you think.
I feel that there are a few reasons, maybe not too many, but I feel like there are a couple reasons. Well, first of all, Black women are heavily influenced by the media. I mean, they put all their money into the Tyler Perry shows and
Oh, wait,
the
wait, wait, wait,
what's
wait, wait,
what's
wait, 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 wait. I got to ask a question. I thought women controlled the media.
women control. You said you thought women control the media?
Yeah, Tyler Perry, for example, he makes his movies for women, and women are the number one financial supporters of Tyler Perry. Fox Soul is supported mostly by women. Most of these shows here on YouTube are supported by Black women. They're not supported by men of any culture. So
No,
media
I didn't.
is
Yeah, I didn't
Black
say
women.
supported. Yeah, well, let me clarify. What I was saying was that they're influenced because the women are supporting it, but that's because they're influenced by it. This is what is being put out, and they're eating it up. Basically, that's what I was trying to say.
So
They're
they're
putting their
influenced.
money into.
So they're
Mhm.
influenced by the things that they financially help create.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean,
Okay.
it's like a generational thing, I guess. Because a lot of women, I'm gonna say like from ages 25 to 30, like well, I'm gonna say 20 to 30, like 35, that kind of age range. A lot of them watch Tyler Perry movies, and a lot of them watch stuff like Ghost, not Ghost, Power, stuff like that. I mean, these are black men putting these things out. Tyler Perry's a black man, and also 50 Cent put out that show Power. Even though black women keep these shows on, they
But
still they put it. It's like in their brains, like that's
I
what you're
got
supposed
that.
to be looking for.
I will give you that. But gay white guys put out the Real Housewives series, and
Really?
yeah, yeah, that's all ran by one gay white guy. The host of the show, the host of the Bravo show, he produces all those shows. And then Shawnee, um, Shaq's ex-wife, started the whole Basketball Wives franchise, and the black woman who runs Love and Hip Hop, that's a black woman. And who else? Who else? Who else? Who else? Yeah. So when you look at if you say Power and Tyler Perry, I will agree with you. I will agree because I'm fair. But the most horrid shows like the Love and Hip Hop stuff, that's a dark skinned black woman who produces that. And the Love and Basketball stuff, Shawnee still produces. And the gay white guy produces all of the Real Housewives. What do you think of those producers?
Well, I'm seeing. Okay, so that's obviously a bit of a mixture with that. I mean, it seems like everybody's promoting things that black women like to watch and even model themselves after. So it's yes, the black woman did the Basketball Wives or in the gay white man. It seems like everybody has their hand in a black woman's pocket as far as that goes, including other black women.
The only reason I
Um,
interrupted is because so many people like to put things at the hands of black men, when in actuality, we are on the minuscule side of these type of things. We don't control it. We partake in it and benefit from it, but we don't pretty much control it. And media, many a times when ladies like yourself talk about media, we always say that's really black women because black women eat it up financially. Most of them control it or they're aligned with people who control it. And then, that's neither here nor there. Go ahead and let's close out this line of questioning. I got another one. What are your last thoughts on this?
um, Well, yes, it seems to be yeah, black women do they perpetuate and they're buying into this type of stuff. But really with the younger generation is probably where I'm most concerned because the older generations, they're the ones these women are not super young that are producing these shows and acting on these shows. A lot of them are 30 plus. And so younger women like myself, I don't watch those shows, but younger women that are around my age probably watch that and they're the ones I'm really concerned with. They're the ones who I feel are kind of like the most innocent in this all, and they're like thinking, "Oh, this is how I'm supposed to act," and all that stuff, you know. But go ahead and ask the second question.
All right. So moving back over to the generalities thing. So you said older guys are more specific. Okay. Um,
Yes.
Now, I'm going to assert something, and you tell me how you think about it. This is in my readings and places I've traveled. I believe that America is very unique in its plantation situation. Every time families did try to come to prominence, they'd kill them. Every time families tried to read, they'd beat them, so on and so forth. So I think that through the decades, where other people may have two and three languages, the African American experience was devoid of that. You know, Haitian people can speak French and whatever, and Africans can speak French, their language, and English, and I think this is the first time ever that Black males have been in a situation where they're not being locked up or beat. When it comes to that, do many women who are younger have empathy for what Black males have been through prior to now?
Um, no, they're so far removed from it, that I feel like they don't really care. Basically, I think they a lot of them don't really care. I mean, I've spoken to I have some black friends that I've, female black friends that I've spoken to, and we do have heavy conversations such as this, and all the incarceration and beating and all that stuff that went on in the past, and how unfair it was. But other girls, they don't seem to care all that much. Other black women don't seem to care all that much. I think they're just so far removed from it. They just like there's no I don't think there's any empathy there. As far as young black women go, I don't think there's a whole lot of empathy there because some of them perpetuate that. I've heard stories about them sending the father of their children to prison, or I mean to jail, for the child support payments that were late and not paid and all that stuff, and using the police as like a manipulation tool over these men that are super vulnerable and not very financially stable. So
Okay. So older men are very specific in what they do. Do you feel that looking at the landscape of what women have to deal with, medical things of that nature, do you think that the older guy provides a bit more safety than some of the younger guys? Or back to the term I mean, experience. Do you think that the more experienced, seasoned guy provides a younger woman much more stability?
yeah, I believe so. Um, my mother raised me to believe older men. Like my mom told me, like she was like, get a guy 5 years, at least 5 years older than you, and that's exactly what she did. She married a man 5 years older than me, and sometimes she jokes that she should have gone older, But it's she because it's like the man is more established, more experienced and stuff. It most likely he will be anyway, unless he's like a 2 Chains at 40, just now becoming a rapper or something like that. Um, and and yeah, so I basically I believe yes, it does provide a sense of security, and the experience is, yeah. But younger men these days, and from my interactions with younger men, they don't really have it together. A lot of them are on their whole. Some of them are. A lot of them are on their focused type thing. They're talking about progressing and stuff like that in life and whatnot. But like what the issue with that is, because like some people might ask, why wouldn't you want to grow with a younger man if he's already trying to focus on his purpose and trying to become established and experienced and stuff? It's because a lot of them aren't focused on growing with young women. They want to do what they're doing now, and play the field basically. They haven't matured as far as they might be mature as far as being money minded and stuff like that, but they're not marriage minded, and they're not they're just ready to play around basically because they're
Yeah,
still young.
yeah. I tell people all the time, a guy is not really ready for a woman till he's 34, 30, 36. You can say that you are, but you will be together and most likely get divorced at 50, 50, 60 years old, because you will always be longing to know what the field was like. See, in my thing, I tell people having a guy is like, even if he's older, it's like having a child. I know people don't like me explaining it like that, but that's really what it is, because you have to stop thinking so much of yourself and make sure this counterpart of yours represents the best of you. The same thing with the woman, whether she's older or younger. She overthinks. Women who overthink are the stress that husbands have, because they're looking at imaginary dragons that don't exist. What if, could be, maybe, possibly. These are the four dragons. And for a husband, he hates dealing with that because that person doesn't have self-discipline. But the woman who does have self-discipline, she makes the husband's life easier because she doesn't believe in maybe, could be, and possibly. She deals with what is and what's in front of her and what may be a block away. She's not looking at 14 blocks. So that's where that thing comes in at. Let me ask you this question. Someone wanted to know, do you believe male leadership is needed?
Yeah, well, yeah, of course. Yeah, it's definitely needed. You want me to explain why?
No, matter of fact, I'll do it for you, because male leadership is needed because women who are leading right now have not seen the horror of being unprotected. Women who are leading right now have not yet seen the horror of being unprotected. Majority of let me ask you this question. Matter of fact, I'll let you answer it, but I'm going to ask you a different question to help answer this on an international viewpoint. Do you believe that if white people were not afraid of the physical and gunplay strength of black men, that black women would be treated fairly?
Hmm. Okay, if they didn't believe in, if they believed in,
If they
wow.
did not believe that, if they thought all black men were 5'2" and 110 pounds, that they were not physical and they were not about shooting, do you believe white folks, Asians, and Latins would treat black women fairly? Because
Hmm.
that's really what the question is. If we take away the protection, do you really think that women would be able to be who they are now?
No.
Under, I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Educate me.
Okay, so okay, so if women were, I'm sorry, this the way you worded the question was a little confusing.
If you removed all the black men,
Hmm.
could black women still be who they are today?
Oh, well, you know what? The way that the community is so dysfunctional, I mean, it could go either way, because there's already a lack of cohesion. There's a lack of unity already, and black women seem to be running the black community for some reason. It's kind of weird, but we're doing a poor job, of course. But it's black women already seem to be, kind of they have this independent mindset and this kind of like do it yourself type of thing and all that, and I don't need a man for anything. And a lot of black women are just functioning that way, but in a dysfunctional way. And so, if you remove all the black men, I mean, it would cause further dysfunction between black women. But I feel like there wouldn't be much of a difference between black men and black women because it's already like the system is already broken between us. Like the community is already super broken. So, and there's a lack of respect for a lot of black men in anyway, and a lot of them are like it's already a huge divide. So if you remove black men, things could go haywire, or things could just kind of be stagnant, same,
I would introduce to you, having traveled to 7 different continents and countries, black women would be more docile than what they are now, because I've
If
seen
black
it.
men were not there, if black
Yep.
men were just gone, that
Hmm.
wow, That's
Because in Russia, do you think black women would be able to act like black Americans?
no,
Because Russian dudes slap, and it's a norm. In France, do you think the black American woman would be able to say and do some of the stuff she does?
no.
No, because the Frenchmen would curse her out and treat her like a whore, which is what they do in France majority of the time. In Arab countries, do you think the black woman will be able to speak and
Oh
do the
no,
things?
definitely not Arab countries. No, it's worse there. It's
So this
worse
is
there.
proving my point. Black American women are only able to be the Cynthia G's of the world because people fear the physicality of black males. That's the only
Hmm.
reason. You can't even have black women go to Africa, which is being proven in 2021, and pop off the way they popped off. They trying to run Art Kanye, a lady named Art, out of there now for just expressing what she expressing inside of her house. It's not a tolerated thing. You can only do it here in America. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think it's not just the fact that people fear, I guess, the physicality of black men. I think black men just allow it a lot of the time. A lot of black men just allow that kind of behavior from the women. Like you said, people they would get slapped in France and I mean in Russia and all that stuff. It's not just because people. I really don't feel like it's too much that people fear black men as far as they just as far as black men just don't control behavior well.
I don't understand what you said. You said it's not that they don't fear black. I'm confused.
No, I'm saying that I don't think it's so much that people fear black men because black men really don't respect. I mean, I'm gonna say a lot of black men don't respect black women, but they also let things just happen. They let this Cynthia G
What
stuff
is
happen.
respect? What does respect have to do with other cultures attacking black women?
Oh well, I can let me try and explain it like in a better way. So the examples you gave, as far as the slapping, were you talking about the black men in those countries or the
No,
white
no,
men in
my
those
lady.
countries?
No, no, my lady. I'm saying I'm used the topic I'm asking you is about protection.
Okay.
Protection of Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If there was no black men around and Taylor was just in the middle of Wisconsin, could she
Yeah.
be could she be Miss Popoff? It needed to be said.
No.
Okay.
Mm.
So therefore, mathematically, using algebra, if you say that you need X in order for AB to exist, you remove X, it's going to be zero.
Okay. So
You're
what are
not
you
going to
trying
be
to say
able to.
that black men in America? Okay, okay. Let me ask you a question. Are you trying to say that black men in America, it's not beneficial for them to be here or something? Like, is that
No,
what you're
no,
saying? Because
no, no, no.
okay.
I'm saying black men in America give the appearance of protection that you can't treat black women any old kind of way, even if they're sassy and popping off.
Oh, okay.
Because if you try to do that, the fear from the white community, Latin community, Asian community, Arab community, we're going to see this dark skinned muscle or these guns come at us. If you remove that, as black women on the internet are trying to do, then it's going to be just like I saw in 1992 France. They were talking bad about the black French men. The black French men left them alone. The white guys started treating the black women better. Then, after all the black Frenchmen were gone, the white guys turned into racist.
I mean, I've seen a lot of videos on the internet from news stories of black women getting beaten by Arab men, Asian men, and white men all over this country. Ever since 2018, I've been seeing a lot of black women getting beaten outside of clubs or restaurants and stuff like that by men that are not black. And I think that's not just a European thing or even an Arab thing. I think that happens everywhere to black women, to be honest.
Which is my point. The only thing that they fear, if anything, is black guys retaliating. So I just find it a conundrum how some women speak against the last bit of protection that they have. Because when they go to African countries, those African guys are not all necessarily as nice as us. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah. So I don't know, you know, and like I said to you when we were on that other board, it isn't like white guys are going beyond dating. Yeah, there's a lot of white guys dating black women, but there's not a lot of white husbands of black women. That's a totally
right.
different thing. Just like there's a lot of black guys who do date white girls, but there's not a lot of husbands of white girls.
That's why I just I would rather stick to my race, because there's a lot of complications that go into it once you leave the community. Um, there's a lack of respect there, even if they are in a romantic relationship with you, because you might not respect the people of your race. So it's hard. Like I was talking to my mother, and she couldn't understand the concept of a man dating a black woman and being racist still. And I said, it's like our neighbors. There's an African lady that is just divorced her African husband and is with a white man now. And so I said, that man is racist. But because the thing is, my brother was trying to get into our house, which the door was acting faulty, and he was standing across the street staring at him with his arms folded. This man did not belong in the neighborhood anyway. He was just kind of going back and forth between the woman's house and his place. And, but he just got married to her, and she's African, you know. So, and my mom was like, well, why would a white man who's married to an African woman straight from the motherland be racist? And I said, you absolutely can be racist.
Oh, your poor mom. Oh, Jesus.
Yeah,
That's like asking. Matter of fact, next time, say to your mom. So when the Ku Klux Klan guy took off his hood and went down to the black part of the of the township and had sex with only the black prostitutes, was he not going back to put on his Ku Klux Klan uniform?
right. But I thought that was so. I thought it was crazy for her to like ask me, but I guess she just never pictured it that way or whatever. And I was just like, and what I specifically said to her was that yes, you can be racist. I don't find any comfort in somebody who is dating me that and they happen to be white, but they hate every other black person that they meet, and they actually disparage them like in real time, you know, when I'm not there, you know. That doesn't make any sense, you know. But it's still a thing. You can still be racist and hate. I mean, you can still be racist and date somebody black, you know. Just because they like you or whatever doesn't mean they're gonna marry you, you know. I mean, he did marry her, which I thought was crazy. The dude is raggedy. But he was
Mm.
staring at my brother like thinking he was trying to break into our own home, and he doesn't even live in that neighborhood. I would hate to see what happened if he ever moved in.
Well, you know what? Like I said, sometimes it's a learning thing. You know, sometimes you got to take white out of it. We're in a situation of classism right now,
Hmm.
where it's about established people versus struggling people, and
Right.
a lot of people, whether white or black, because let's say I was him, I'm looking to see whether this is a struggling person who belongs there and got locked out, and I'm just looking. I'm not saying nothing. I'm just looking. Or if there's a person who's going to get uncomfortable by me looking and walk away. But it's hard to explain that when you're established, you got property and stuff like that, you start having that property mentality. It doesn't mean that you're on this race kick. You just looking like, dude, why are you hopping the fence? Why are you not using your key? Who is that cat? I've never seen him before. Yeah, I'm a visitor, but I'm just concerned, is this a struggler trying to get in on the plays. That's how we end up thinking. It don't mean that we're racist a lot of times in our thinking. I don't care if it was Asian, Chinese. I don't care if it was a little 12-year-old girl. Who is that little 12-year-old girl? Why is that white girl hopping the fence? I'm gonna stand there and look. You know what I'm saying? Because why is that happening? Because now I'm thinking about my property. You see what I'm saying? Because is this a norm? For a perfect example, just to show you that it's a lot of classism. I was out 3 a.m. in the morning trying to go run, right? I saw a homeless guy taking a bath in my neighbor's water.
Oh,
Yeah, you see my point? My neighbor got to pay for his water. You use up 5-6 gallons, that's a couple of $100 from my neighbor. I need to say something so you don't get so comfortable where you start using my water. Am I racist?
no.
So a lot of times it's that. It's what's going on, what's cracking. We had and when you become a property owner, it's different than being a renter, Taylor, because you start being very protective. And that's another thing that older guys are more concerned about with than younger guys. Let me go into this part of the conversation. As an older guy, we're most of us, let's not call it older again. Let's call it established. As an established, seasoned guy, we're more focused on policy, procedures, what City Hall is doing. My property line. Are young guys really into that stuff, or is it just the older dudes?
It's probably the older dudes. I've been to a few city hall meetings in my college town, and it's usually older people. There was one young guy, but he was doing it for a project. His major was government, but yeah, it's typically people that are older that are attending these meetings. That are older in general. So I definitely older men.
Let me say about this. So when it comes to marriage, a lot of guys want older guys. We're not into this, but I notice a lot of younger guys are into this two wives things. What is your opinion of the whole two wives thing?
You mean like married to two women?
Yeah.
Well, I haven't heard of that with younger men. I thought that was something that happened in Utah or something, but specifically, but I don't know. I mean, I don't really have much experience with that kind of thing, like somebody wanting two wives. I haven't heard many men in general say they wanted more than one wife.
It's a lot to deal with. Just, because you got two different personalities, and
Right.
you got to deal with a lot. And what's so unique to me, I find that a lot of those marriages, I haven't seen one last beyond 12 years. I
Ah,
haven't seen it. Yeah, I haven't seen it. I saw one last 12 years, but they were in an isolated part of Denver. I haven't seen many last beyond that. So I just find that I don't know what the purpose for that is. But someone wanted me to ask you. So I've asked, you've answered. Moving on. Women always say, I think women try to discourage young women. I mean, young women have been dating older guys since back in the day. Older women have been dating younger men. Are the women in your age group, do they ever say, ew, she's too old to be dating him?
hmm. Um, yeah. We don't have those dynamics in my immediate group and like the people I associate with. It's always older men older than the women. If the woman is older than the man, it's only by like 2 years.
Okay. Because I find that women who have younger guys all of a sudden are applauded. Cougars are celebrated.
I find that to be kind of well, that's very cringy to me for older women. Like, what are you gonna do with it's not even about robbing the cradle. It's like that man is, you're going backwards. It's kind of like the Keisha Cole effect. I mean, I don't know if anyone knows who the singer Keisha Cole is, but she's known for dating younger men,
Hmm.
and she just,
And getting rid of them.
yeah, and it's just like, why are you rinsing and rinse, wash, and repeat? Like, I mean, you're on an everlasting path to loneliness when you hit your 40s. It doesn't make sense to go backwards. You want to look forward. For me personally, I feel like you want to look forward because everybody knows that men mature, later than women. And it varies by any specific male. Any specific man, it will vary. But we already know the general consensus is that men mature slower than women. So why would you go backwards unless it's like a power trip, or like, like kind of like an ego thing. Like, I have something to prove because I got this fine young dude and I can teach him things and stuff. It's like, no, you're not his mother though. You want somebody that I feel like personally, like I want somebody that's older because I don't have to teach a guy something like basic things, stuff that will stuff like that would Keisha Cole would have to teach a dude that's in his early mid 20s. I find that to be weird. For women,
Well,
it's like they're immature, like themselves, the women.
people claim the same thing about women like yourself who they think are immature, and you're with a dude twice your age, that type of stuff. They believe that. What's to say that they're not correct?
Well, I mean, it's the fact that if we just take into account what is said about men and women's maturity, like levels and stuff, and how women are supposed to mature, or they just on average they mature faster than men, and for a woman that's close to 40 to be messing with a 25-year-old, that looks more evident that she's immature than a woman who is young trying to, be with somebody that's 30 plus. Um,
And I
it
find
looks more obvious. Yeah.
and I find it, you know what I always say, it's pretty easy for a woman of 40 and 50 to find a guy. It is pretty easy. They try to say that it's not, but it's an issue of get in the gym, number one, go run, number two, and everything can't go your way. It's just that simple.
Hmm.
You you can find because when you see some of our senior citizens when they're not as pretty anymore, or maybe they tend to do that a lot. They ain't as feisty as they used to be. They just like the fact that somebody wants to be around. They like the fact they got somebody to talk to. It's pretty easy to find a counterpart. It's just I think people have to get out of their own way. You're looking for safety and protection. That's the only reason to have a counterpart, is to be able to be in your corner when nobody else will. But you got to appreciate that. Maybe
Right.
she might have a surgery. Her breasts ain't gonna be the same. Her whatever ain't gonna be the same. Well, you still my girl. That makes her feel great. I'm
Hmm.
still his girl. So I think the combative nature of some women causes them to have to run to Tank Top Tony. Tank Top Tony ain't really got nothing going on, but Tank Top Tony got a hard penis. Tank Top Tony is there at her beck and call. She spends 5 to 10 years with Tank Top Tony. Now she wants to have a real relationship. But somebody like you have already picked out the best men. What are your thoughts?
As far as the woman with tank top Tony, I mean that often that's often like a main theme in the Black community, where the younger women waste their younger years chasing behind thugs or Pookie and Ray Ray, and I agree. I'm in full agreement with that because I've seen it. It doesn't happen to the women that I consider part of my circle, but I just observe a lot of Black women because I go to a school with a lot of Black women, and I just see them walking with dudes with their pants hanging down their ankles and stuff like that, and it's just like, really. And I do get judged still for wanting that sense of security, that wisdom, all that experience and seasoned the way an older man carries himself. A lot of the idols that I see on TV are older men, like Shamar Moore, Idris Elba, or something like that. I find them to be more appealing than somebody like I don't know, like a Roddy Rich. I would just be honest. I find younger guys to be like kind of on that playboy stuff, And so, me personally, even with my best friend, I've had a conversation about older men with her before. She basically says they're still hot, nice to look at on TV if they look like that or whatever. But she said she wouldn't go as old as I would, like 34, 36, between that area. Like that's just the oldest I would probably go up to. And my mom said she kind of cringed at when I said I would date somebody that old. She said, I don't know, you shouldn't be dating anybody 10 or plus years older, maybe 7 to 9. And she was saying that obviously it's a protective thing, but I'm 23. I'm still an adult, so I know I know how to be cautious about that. It's like I really don't fear, like I said in the other live stream with Omega, that I feared being maybe taken advantage of. But the more I talk to people on these spheres and stuff like that, I as far as YouTube goes, I have less fear about that, and I have more of like a grounded opinion on that kind of thing. And personally, the whole thing with black women in their youth dating Pookie and Ray, that's a sad state of affairs. It really is. You can't save everybody though.
Well,
That's
here's
how I
the
feel
thing,
about it.
though. I think that some of those women who make those arguments, Steven Spielberg's black daughter, black and white, is with a man 2.5 times older than her.
Wow,
Yeah.
25 years. Wow.
But for some odd reason, the white community says nothing about these type of things. It's only the black community. Celine Dion, before her husband died, he was like twice, almost 18 years, 16 years.
Wow.
She dates guys now who are younger than her. Why is the black community the only ones up in roar about this if evidence shows other cultures don't care?
Hmm. Why do they? That might have some historical backing, to be honest, because
Plantation.
yeah, because like shortly like around the ending of slavery, they made a lot of laws that made it legal for well, white men specifically to molest young black girls. I read about that, and I learned about that in history out here in my college, that they teach our
I had a couple of black women on YouTube says I was lying. That never happened.
Why would they say that? That's a
Because they
white
have
woman
an
talking.
agenda. Because they have an agenda to try to get to your mind. Their whole goal is to lie to you about black men. And when you bring up those type of documented facts, they hate it because it goes against their narrative that they're trying to get to Taylor.
Wow. Like I was flabbergasted, and this is an elderly white woman teaching me this stuff. She taught me the history of feminism and how it was a white woman's issue, and they actually
Yep.
barred a lot of black women from marching and
Get in the
participating.
back. Told them to get in the back. I don't want to be seen in pictures with you.
Yeah, Susan B. Anthony said something super like racist, and it was documented. And I read that in a book. I was like, it was something that she said about she cut off her arm or something like that before she, helped the
Right.
Negro or whatever. I was like,
Right.
wow.
But so that begs the question. I'm glad you went down this line. So why were black women at those times participating when, let me point out a fact, black men were employing black women? You have several. I'll point you to one of the greatest ones, the Pullman Train Union. They created the first black women's economics convention in 1939. No,
Wow.
white. See, I think you know I'm going to invite you over here some more for some of these historical feminist conversations because it's amazing to me how intellectual black women don't know how much black men were helping them, their grandmothers, and just never took credit for it. The white woman didn't even want you working in the office with her.
I believe it.
You had to work down in the basement if they gave you a job. When a black man was a dentist, he hired who? Black women. When a black man was a doctor, he hired who? Black men and black women. Because back at that time, black men were the nurses. Women were not nurses. You do know that, right?
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I did not know that. That's
Yeah, you got to come over here more often and get some historical information. Nurses were men, whether white or black. There were no female nurses. That's why females had to wear the little hats on their head back in the day
oh okay, yeah.
to signify to the patient that they were actually a nurse.
Hmm.
Hmm. So
Yeah.
black women before the right to vote were already financially better off than most white women. The white woman's money came from her husband.
Oh.
The black woman money came from her employment or creating products or something. So they had to convince the black woman to be part of suffrage, even though the black man was not vilifying the black woman. You might have had 20% of dudes who were doing wrong to women. And those were once again the tank top Tonys of that time. The rest of the guys wasn't.
It's insane to me. I mean, why black women or a lot of famous black women are seen as like the front runners of the feminist movement now, when really it was white women in the past. That but they're like making them the figurehead. They're making us the figurehead of that, the spearheader. And it's very unfortunate. It's very disheartening, especially when I know the truth and what all took place back then and for the
I,
progressive era. You know, progressive era was full of just I'll be honest, racist white women that wanted to, they were on a power trip in their power struggle with their men, their own men during that time, and they did not want black women to be a part of that.
yeah, because black women many a times were the strumpet. Black men, women many a time was the one her Italian husband snuck off with. You
Hmm.
know, so she needed to combat that because she was just at home. I mean, you got to remember, you Taylor took care of the baby, you cleaned the house, you cooked the food. The white woman was just there waiting for the husband to come home. She was busy playing piano or painting and ready to have more babies. That was her function mostly.
Right.
So what mathematical reason, strategic reason, chessboard reason would the black woman have in partnering with the white woman? Because
Right. Yeah. They
until
were enemies.
until until black women got the right to vote, the white woman never wanted her part.
Right.
How can somebody be a feminist but you still have slaves? How can somebody be a feminist but you're not hiring black women to be the receptionist?
Yeah. It's all smoke and mirrors, and over the years they just screwed the whole definition. And I don't identify as a feminist. It's been I'm gonna say since I was 18, I stopped like claiming I was a feminist because someone like came to me and said, "Why do you identify as a feminist?" And I said, and then like they said because feminists don't hold other women accountable. And I was like, okay,
Yeah,
because like
yeah,
he was
that's what. Yeah.
yeah, he said other women feminists don't hold other women accountable for anything. And I was like, oh wow, that puts a lot of things, and I didn't know what that meant until like a year later when I started getting on this, the manosphere and all these other different spaces with Black YouTube and all that. And I was like, I understand now that a lot of feminists are give the illusion of this whole camaraderie and this whole girl power thing or whatever. But a lot of it runs into issues with intersectionality.
Wait.
Um,
I gotta interject something. Somebody asked me, how old are you? How old are you?
I'm 23.
23. Okay, go ahead. Intersectionality.
Yeah, so like intersectionality, I actually learned about that in a women's studies class I took one summer, and they talked about how like black women they talked about the history of feminism and how black women were kept out of all that stuff and the progressive era and all that, and we learned about all the horrific things that happened to black women and stuff like that, and how as far as like because like there's this one woman named Audre Lorde, I think Audre Lorde. She identifies as a black lesbian feminist, and I thought as I was reading her articles and her passages and stuff like that, I was thinking, why does this woman identify as a feminist at all? It doesn't matter if she's a lesbian. People do
Well,
not.
well, she
Yeah.
she has bought into womanhood at all costs,
Hmm.
but really that's just a ploy. Okay, feminists hate when I do this, but let me see how you feel about my theory on it. What is the white woman's number one concern in life?
Financial security, probably.
No.
Oh, really?
Mm-mm. Her children.
Oh.
I don't care what you watch. 80% of what the white woman talks about is her kids. Let me give you an example. You've seen in real life, you've seen in documentaries, you've seen in movies. The Italian woman will say, I don't like Frankie, but I'm not going to keep my kids from their father.
Oh. Okay. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Her children are her number one. He may beat me, but I'm not condoning violence. I'm saying her number one concern is for her kids not to be Taylor's kids.
Hmm.
She would rather for her kids to marry a Russian than marry into Taylor's family, only because of appearances. See, if her child is half Russian, they can hide in society.
Right.
When the white woman adopts the black son, why is she such a grizzly bear toward everybody who makes her black son feel shamed? She attacks everybody because in her mind, that's her child.
Hmm.
I dated a very dark skinned woman who I was really into. She was adopted by a white woman. White woman adored her. She loved her mom. But as soon as the woman died, the father turned into a racist. Oh, I never really wanted you. She did. She's like, but you're my father. You're the only father I know. Out to the streets
Mm,
with you.
wow.
No, don't wow. Just this is a norm. What I do is because I'm from the hood. I'm from shooting guns, selling dope. But I done got to a corporate level. And I've looked behind the curtain that most black people are afraid to look at, especially black men. Black women will look behind the curtain. Black men just rather serve people. You got to look behind this curtain and you'll find not racism, but classism.
Okay.
Everybody wants to be a monarch or a royal.
Okay, so what about the whole old money versus new money thing? How
There
a
is
lot
no
of people
new,
that come.
there is, let me stop you. There is no new money. There's
Okay,
only,
so
go ahead.
I was gonna ask, like, how do you explain that? Like,
Because if you cannot move anything politically, your money means nothing.
hmm,
And in order to move something politically, you have to have more than money. You got to be connected to a
oh,
whole person.
Well, okay, so in the case of somebody like, because when I think of old money, I think of people who, like, from slavery time, like people who were just rich, or like have generational wealth from slavery. Um, and then when I think of new money, I think of people like Jay-Z, and he has a lot of backing. He's a mover and a shaker, and he's been in politics, that kind of thing.
No,
So
not really. No, not really. Not really. Somebody whose old money, somebody's who using your metrics, somebody whose new money would be the former owner of BET.
hmm.
Somebody with new money would be Oprah. Jay-Z hasn't gotten to that part yet. Jay-Z is just now making connections.
Oh, I
You,
see.
Jay-Z hasn't brought any bill to the floor and had nothing done. Matter of fact, LeBron is making more moves than Jay-Z is.
Yeah, that makes sense.
LeBron, okay, so here's the thing, and this is good for black people. King Sigma is in the building. He understands this. Black people have to move culture. If you don't move culture, you're just coexisting in it, it means nothing. What did Biden say to the black civil rights people? You better get behind Latinos. What did the black civil rights people do? Say nothing. The only one who had courage was the person who privately taped them. Think about that. The only person who had courage in that room was the one who privately taped them because everybody else wouldn't have said nothing.
All right.
That's the difference between old money and new money. It does not matter if you're Jay-Z and you have $500 million. It really doesn't matter. Can you change policy? He did help change the NFL. Yeah, but that was a willing participant. Can he go change policy? That's the difference. In his neighborhood, if you get with your husband, can you change the people on your block and have them move the way you would like for them to move when it's time to talk about your district representative?
Um, Say that again.
Your district representative. When you
Yes.
get married and you become a homeowner, can you get your neighbors to vote the way you vote?
No,
No, you can't.
not.
You can't.
Mm,
I do it in my
like,
I do it in my neighborhood right now. I'm known in my neighborhood.
okay.
I went down to introduce myself to the new representative. I don't just do this YouTube stuff. So the only way you can do that is when you say, "Hey, how you doing? My family has been in this area for 60 years. So you're the new representative, right?" See, that means something. Listen to what I said. I ain't say nothing about my money. My family has been in this area for 60 years before I was even born. So
Wow.
new money means nothing. This is why I sound so different than other YouTubers because other people, if it wasn't for YouTube, they wouldn't even have money. Think about that. A lot of people wouldn't even have money. These people don't tell you when they talk to you on a panel and you're disagreeing with them, you should ask them, what do you do for a living? Know the people that you're holding a conversation with. And then you'll realize, oh, you shovel manure all day. Okay. Well, what does that mean? Oh, it don't mean nothing. I just understand why you think the way you do. Moving on. See, sometimes we be arguing with folks who haven't achieved and don't want to look behind the curtain. That sounds arrogant when we say that, but that's how the world works. You marry into a family that's been around for 80 years, that means something. You're not just a McGillicuddy. You're now a Cartwright. And even though he may not be this and that, you know what your children inherit?
A legacy?
The Cartwright legacy. Absolutely. It doesn't matter your medical condition. It doesn't matter his medical condition. It doesn't matter if one of you guys pass out on the deathbed 20 years from now. The white woman cares about her children doing better. And this is why white women did not vote with black women when it came to Trump, because they were concerned about their children. What are your thoughts?
Okay, so when it comes to Trump, I admit I'm not big into the whole to a lot of politics and policy type things, but when you say they cared about their children and that's why they didn't vote for Trump, is that what you're saying?
So it was my long-winded way of saying that no matter what the scenario, white women care about their children and not about themselves. That's why you don't hear white women talking much about themselves.
Okay.
They don't talk about the job that they got and blah, blah, blah. Majority of them talk about their children.
I guess I'm not around enough white women to understand that. Or, well, I mean, a lot of them are like a lot of the white women I am around, they don't have kids anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I think if you stay friends with them, I think what you'll realize the minute they start having kids, their whole mentality changes.
Mm-hmm. I know
It's
one
like,
specifically. She does talk about her son a lot. She just had him. She was pregnant when I met her. Yeah, that's the only one I know. She does talk about him a lot. She's very mature. When it comes to like the motherhood thing, she
so
actually talked about. Oh, I'm
no,
sorry.
go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
Go ahead.
I actually had a conversation with her before class started about interracial relationships, and she said when she was in high school that was something that was she was interested in a black guy, and then she realized as she got older that it's just not gonna it wasn't gonna work, and that she needed to stay within her race, and that's what she did. She got married to a white man and had a white kid, but she said like the dynamic is just um you know it's just different.
Well, it would have worked. It's just that they go after guys like myself who are established. And there's not enough established black men. There are black men who are making money, but making money is different than being established. If you
Right.
make 200, if you make 280,000 in 3 years, right?
Hmm.
Versus a guy who makes 60,000. No, let's make 70,000 a year. Okay. And in 2 years, in the same 2 years, he made 140, right? Who's the safer bet to go with?
um in the same 2 years another guy makes 140.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be the guy
But
with the 70,000,
it's the guy who,
with the 70,000, right?
because he's consistent.
Exactly. My dad makes about that much. He drives trucks.
Mm-hmm.
So
But the person making 280 is not necessarily consistent. So
right.
your friend was interested in black guys, but many times black guys all they have is penis.
Hmm.
They don't have the ability to move and shake nothing. And white women don't mind sucking on something and having fun, but when it comes time to get serious, she's gonna be like, can he take me to the next level?
Right.
Can I go to my white family and brag that my black man has me safe? Remember we started off with that conversation?
Yeah, that actually reminds me of a video that was on YouTube. This guy named King Riches. He was reacting to it. It was a white woman in the car. In the car, the way she was talking to him, her black boyfriend, was almost as if she wasn't even with him. Like she was a friend, but she was saying to him that it's not white women are not seen as having status if they get with a black man. Like they're not seen as having like a level of security or status, and they actually she said it's almost like white women become a joke when they get with a black
It
man.
is. So it's not so much that they're a joke, and you're talking about Dre. So let me give you a background about Dre. Uh, Dre is very good at basketball. Dre had a lot of tutorial basketball things, and he became popular. I don't know if Dre had money before then. He may have, because I think he played overseas for a while. But the internet money really started coming in, right?
Mm-hmm.
The problem is Dre is now insulated into his own mind. He doesn't have outside information no more. He's only going from his anecdotal examples on how the world works. So this Russian girl or Ukrainian, but she whichever one, she's Russian. He got with her. Okay. Many a times what happens though, Taylor, a lot of black guys get super turned on for the fact that somebody white is giving them head. That's the weakness of the black man, sex. Sex is not the place where you should feel most powerful. In Dre's case, and this is to what you just said, he's with a woman he doesn't even truly know. You're just now finding this out about this woman?
Right.
What she had to go through to even be with you? And you know, the reason Dre said what he said, because he thought, well, because I have white women moaning and groaning for this sex, they must want me. No. And you saw the seriousness in her face. If you look at the video, she's like, no, I chose to be with you. And he just couldn't get it.
Yeah, basically she was saying there was no benefit. There's no real benefit.
Right. The only reason she got with him, if we were to get her separated from Dre and where she wouldn't get in trouble with her husband, she got with him because Dre was established. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
If Dre was a regular dude just making some YouTube money, she probably wouldn't have did it. She probably would have said, oh, well, this will get me in America. But here he is dumbfounded. No, I disagree. How can you disagree? I'm a white woman. You're asking a white woman about how white women think. And you know why Dre disagreed? Because in his mind, but you're moaning and groaning for my inches. And she's like, well, that means nothing to my people. Huh? What are your thoughts, Taylor?
Well, she's right. Like, even though it means something to her and whatnot, she still made a sacrifice as far as her community. I mean, I don't know what the extent of her alienation from the community was. But the excommunication or whatever might have happened with that. But I've seen that with a lot of white women. I live in Texas. There's a lot of interracial couples, specifically black men and white women walking around. So it's been like that since middle school when I first got here through high school. See that on my campus, and I see that everywhere I go. Really, like I actually played a game one time, and I walked outside and I counted all the black men with white women. It's just like that here, and a lot of the white women are considered that do that, participate in those relationships, are considered lower tiered white women. A lot of them are overweight, and a lot of them just, I've heard someone say that they weren't like white men don't really like them like that, and I'm thinking, dang, you know, um, I was flabbergasted when I because I came across this concept for the first time in high school when I heard a white girl basically say that white men don't mess with her like that, and I was like, well,
no, they don't.
You're white.
No,
I was like, but
don't.
you're white though.
Hmm? No, and shout out to Sigma said, damn, Texas. No, white people got to remember. Look. We got to get. I say this to you, Taylor, and I'm saying this to King Sigma in the chat room. People got to get off of this thing of how they think white people are. And you got to listen to people like me who compete with white people. I compete with white people. I know how white people are really concerned about Asians first. That's their number one demographic. They want an Asian chick. The second demographic is maybe a Latina or a Brazilian. It's not a white girl. The only guys who are loyal to white girls are the ones who are infatuated with where they grew up. Maybe he's a Montana man and he needs a Montana girl. Maybe he's a Texas man and he wants a Texas woman. But
Oh yeah,
just
I know about this.
yeah, but,
Sorry.
but just the fact that she's white, the white guys are not into white women like that. Go ahead.
Yeah, yeah, and so I know exactly about like the whole Asian. A lot of white men go overseas to get an Asian woman. I know about that, or they come over here, mail order brides. I know somebody in my neighborhood that was a mail order bride. She was Filipino, and you know it's like she that man went overseas to get her. Like he was white. I know, and I think it's like a fetish, really, to me. But a lot of white men do um, fantasize about being with Asian women.
Well,
I've seen it ever since like the movie Pacific Rim came out, and other things like that. And
well, everything is a fetish. We got to remember everything is a fetish because in order for you to get sexually turned on, it has to be something different to you, even if it's the look of of a certain vagina, the way she trims her hairs, could be the way her breasts, nipples, everything. Everybody got something that turns them on about another person. Everybody got a fetish, and for some people, it's the skin color. But go ahead with your thought.
yeah, so I had a teacher as well. He was a white man, and when I was in high school, and he was married to an Asian woman. She died unfortunately, but yeah, a lot of I heard this. I've heard people saying recently that a lot of like Asian women want their kids to be half white. They specifically seek that out. And the white men are okay with it. You know, they like that dynamic where somebody's half Chinese, half white, or something like that. Um, that's just I've known that to be a thing. But I didn't know it was. Growing up, I didn't know it was to the extent that they would reject women of their own race. I thought white women were internationally coveted. You know,
No, I think black women like to tell black women that, but that's not really the case. No, not at all. Uh, Going all the way back in history, that's never been the case. Uh, Let me tell you something real quick, just to have you peek behind the curtain. Imagine the mindset of a guy who would let you have sex with his wife just to be able to take over your grandfather's land.
wow.
That's a real thing. That's a real thing. Marry a daughter off just to have access to your legacy. That's a real thing. In 2020, that's a real thing. I don't know about 2021, but 2020, that's a real thing. So the reason I'm having this conversation with you to let you know to what level. Now, see, some of the things I'm saying sounds crazy to people, right? Oh, he was just BSing. He was trying to holler at you, Taylor. You know, all this fugazi red herring nonsense. I'm telling you what I've seen as a traveling international black man. This is what I've seen. People are willing to do whatever to make sure their children are taken care of. And when they look at black people, whether it be black men or black women, their thinking is, you're not willing to do what I'm willing to do to make sure our children have legacy. That's the problem. When you're dealing with seasoned guys, especially older seasoned guys, we've seen this stuff. We know this stuff. Maybe not everything that I know, or maybe more than I know. But we've seen this stuff. Regular guys your age, they have begun yet. They're still on get the bag. What do you think about the get the bag black guys?
Get the bag. Like, well, it's he hasn't gotten the bag yet, but that's not my um. Well, as far as I see that is I, I mean, I don't know if it's gonna make me sound like, oh, I'm just after money or anything like that, but I'm looking for just the like the maturity as far as that goes. And a lot of get the bag black guys, that's nice or whatever, but when they're especially when they're young, I've met a few guys who's like in social media profile says focused on it, focused and getting the bag and leveling up and all that stuff. That's all nice, but they have a one track mind. They're not also focused on building with one woman, and a lot of them are, by their own admission, kind of paranoid of trying to level up and date at the same time because women are opportunistic, quote unquote, and stuff like that. And so that right there, like a lot of young guys that are chasing after money, they a lot of them say they don't have time for a relationship, and what I see is that they're going to end up being closer to 30, maybe past that, and then they'll be established, and then they're going to get younger women, just like.
Well, there's nothing wrong with them going past that and then getting with younger women, because the younger women are supposed to be getting with the most established guy early.
Right. I agree. I'm just saying that's why I rather get with an older man now, because younger men are trying to be where older men are at anyway. So it's
Right.
like they're following suit,
And
So
and I'll never let nobody shame you about gold digging and all that. That's a poor man's argument. Broke dudes are concerned about losing money to a woman. An established guy is not going to let you defeat him like that.
right.
That we're going to have prenups. We're going to have arrangements. You're going to come into a lot of stuff, say, hey, in the case we split, this is what you'll get. Sign here.
Mm-hmm.
These other dudes, and now mind you, there are some older dudes with 12-year-old mentalities. You supposed to do this. You my wife. See, that's a dude with no plan. That's a dude with no plan. You got to have a plan when you interacting with a woman, and it can't be because she cute or you like her vagina. Hey Taylor, you a size 10, size 12, sweetheart. I'm gonna get you a gym membership. I need you to be a size 8. I love everything about you, and I'm not saying this to embarrassing you. We having a private conversation. Nobody else hears this. We at dinner, candlelight. But sweetheart, I need for you to do well. You know what? You're right, CA, and you kind of around the midsection too. So I'm gonna need for you to get. I get right on it, baby. And wear more tires. Okay, absolutely. Tires turn you on. Oh yeah, tires turn me on. See, this is a compromise we're talking.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's getting offended. That's childish.
Right. Like for me, like in a relationship, there's no room for like tiptoeing around, the truth and dancing around stuff. Like I don't have time for that. Like if somebody wants something from me or they require a certain thing, like just let me know. Like that's another thing that's kiddie with younger men. They're either like tiptoeing around stuff or they'll just flat out demand things in a very disrespectful way. And so oftentimes like expectations are so high because a lot of younger men are obsessed with having a woman that looks a specific way as far as like status. Like it's like because a man that like a lot of younger men are obsessed with a woman not only looking a certain way, but I'm going to be honest, a lot of them have the 50-50 mentality. Um, like everything has to be this. You have to contribute half of this and that and stuff, and look good, and take care of all this stuff. It's like, yeah, I'm not really a big. I used to be, but I'm not really a big fan of 50-50 anymore.
Well, there's no such thing as 50-50. It's always 60-40, 70-30. That's all. That's way it all. Because here's the problem. Let's say you have more leadership as the woman. Let's say you're an accountant and you have your own business, and I come in just as a regular warehouse worker. Okay. Here's what I need you to realize as the quote unquote leader. And this is why a lot of international women who are way more powerful than Taylor still acquiesce to their man, to their husband. Because you take on that power role, you know what always happens? Your estrogen is going to kick in. You're going to get tired. You're going to be mentally drained. The moods are going to come in. You're going to start popping off. If you're not the woman to control that type of stuff, you're going to create chaos. See, when you're a leader at work, but you're able to come home and be like a curled up purring kitty cat, then you can walk around like a kitty cat and do what you, hey, let me cook for my husband. But wait a minute, Taylor, you make more than him. You make 35 million. This is still my husband, and I don't want nobody to make his plate but me. You know why?
Oh, oh, sorry. Go ahead. I was gonna ask the
Because
question, but you can finish.
because there's a give and take in the relationship that has nothing to do with her successes. Go ahead with your question.
Okay, so young men and old in general, like because I thought about it, but about this specific thing, this change that I made because I'm looking to be a personal trainer, but at the same time I'm getting a degree in sport management so I can open up a business that's kind of like GNC, but more organic. And so what I what I my question about that is people on the manosphere specifically tend to view and talk about women in leaders and leader positions like owning a business, being an entrepreneur, being a lawyer, being a doctor, just like high positions, of but generate a very handsome amount of like income. And they view them as already like inherently masculine and combative and stuff like that. And I was wondering how can you like how is it possible to I don't know like close that mindset um when like how do you get people to like not see you for your occupation as a woman,
Okay.
when you're in
Okay.
that and when you're in a position like that.
Okay. Repeat after me. This is going to be helpful. Most guys
Most guys
in the manosphere
in the manosphere
are afraid to tell you
are afraid to tell me
what they do for a living.
what they do for a living. Wow. um,
Most guys in the manosphere, about 90% of the dudes who are in these circles, are afraid to tell you what they do, yet they got all these opinions.
mm, I
The,
see.
re- the reason I say that is because most of these guys who have these concerns, talking points, have not achieved nothing personally. You don't
Okay.
know how many Uber drivers we got in the manosphere that got followings. I had to expose one dude who turned out to be a rapist. Uh,
Ooh.
he also pulled the gun on a pregnant woman to rob her, and he beat a woman inside of his mama house. But then another popular YouTuber came and said, "You should take that down. He a good dude. He got good information." Man, if you don't get out of here with that nonsense, especially you're a dude that don't even have a job and you living off unemployment and YouTube money.
Mm.
See, a lot of these manosphere guys you can't take serious. So only when people start chewing you out or they got this energy about women, ask them what they do. Oh, how is that relevant? Okay, I just ask him what you do. Because see, even like your dad drives trucks. He doesn't
Hmm.
necessarily have to deal with people all the time.
Right.
He just makes money. That's how a lot of these manosphere dudes are. They don't deal with people. So then they're expecting women to do all this miraculous superwoman stuff that isn't normal. Because if you had to deal with people on a regular basis every week, you would understand I can't even get that in my real world as a man. I can get it in my insulated world. So, to be fair to your question, I'll answer it this way. Women got to be able to turn it off once they punch out. That's what it all
Right.
is. And there's just so many women who are not able to turn it off because they're in over their heads. They don't have a good support system at home. Or if they do have a good support system, she's talking to him like he one of her employees. Does that help?
Yeah.
So you got to always think like, will this guy, old or young, be with me if I was to go to the hospital? Will he be by my side if I start bleeding out of my eyes? Everybody got that. That's what love is, and he might be short. That's what the Latinas learn. The Latinas learn is it. Haven't you seen some nice tall Latinas with short men?
Um, Actually, a lot of the Latina people, I mean, the Latinos, in my area are short, both of them, on both genders.
They more concerned about who gonna be in a corner when they get fat. They
Hmm.
not they. I got a lady that I interact with. She's Puerto Rican. Nobody's in her corner. We don't even interact like that. But she likes talking to me because I give her stability.
Hmm.
Those are the keys. And when you're an older guy dealing with younger women, like the one I have, you got to edify her. You got to make her, hey, sweetheart, I'm finna go fly to Atlanta. I'll be back. Okay. See, I can coexist without her. She doesn't have to check up because I've given her such security to know, hey, look, I'm doing X and I'm going to be with you and we're going to do YZ. She doesn't allow her girlfriends in her ear. Well, da 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 da. No, no, I don't have no evidence of that. My guy's solid.
Yeah, and it's funny that you mentioned that because the way I am, I'm very stubborn. As far as like, I want to see things for myself, figure things out for myself. So when it comes to dynamics between me and my friends, I don't really listen to that he ain't shit kind of thing. I I like to observe. I've always been a very observant person, and that's why I kind of like. It's funny because I do have a differing opinion from a lot of the people, um, in on the spaces that I talk on as far as like interracial relationships because I'm like, well, I see it every day. Like it's always here over here in Texas. Like people say it's like that in Florida, but I was 12 when I left, so. But as soon as I came out here, I just seen a shift. Like it seems like nobody in Texas wants to be with somebody that looks like them. Um,
Well,
like
because the new thing is everybody knows there got to be something melanated about you.
mhm.
Especially like I work in skin disease. Uh, White people in there all the time. A freckle, a bump, they come to check that out for $200-$300 because it's part of their condition. Well, as in most black people never even come.
Mhm.
So I even had a white woman say, "Oh yeah, I definitely would have a mixed child because I know in order for my children to survive." Listen to what she said. In order for my children, she's concerned about her children. In order for my children to survive, I know they had to be melanated some type of way.
Right.
But
Yeah, that is interesting because like I've been seeing all these like movies and documentaries about this about melanin tan stuff and like how that woman Martina Big like she literally got so many injections of melanin in her and it's like I feel like that's low key a mental illness to do something like that but a lot of influencers and other people have been doing things like that and also there's that movie the Midnight Sun where this girl she's white she's literally allergic to the sun she
oh
can't
yeah,
she had to run home before the sun came out. I was like I found it kind of ridiculous because it came out when I was like in high school or something but
you should
but
go.
I was like
You should go see the movie that's based on a movie called Powder.
Oh.
Powder.
Mm-hmm.
It was based on a guy in an earlier '80s movie called Powder.
Wow.
Yeah. Uh, so let me give you the opportunity. Shout out to Classy Ruby. She says, in regards to women putting their careers so far ahead, you are your character, personality, interests, hobbies, beliefs. Put the focus on who you are and not about what you do for a living. Absolutely. We get with women to be the painters of our life. They're supposed to show us the culinary. They're supposed to show us how to tie a better tie. I fell in love with my ex fiance when she tied a double Windsor for me. My father didn't even tie a double Windsor. She's like, let me buy your clothes for you. Hey, let her buy the clothes for me. It made her more sexually excited. This was her man that she constructed. And the same thing with me. I would take my woman to the black and white store. Everybody like the black and white store. Yeah, my woman don't know what rainbow is. So then when we're not together no more, what's the first thing most of my exes say? I miss being with you. Yeah, because it's a different level of of thing that you're dealing with. You're not dealing with the 50-50 guy. These are where the things come in. But here's a segment for you before we go back to these questions. Being that I'm an older guy, I date younger women. I have a younger woman, 25. Any questions you ever wanted to ask older guys?
Um, a question that I wanted to ask older men.
Mm-hmm.
Um, well, let's see. I guess I would want to ask how hard, I guess, how hard would it be, and this is specifically for an established older man, but
Always, always.
yeah, but like how difficult was it, like what was the dynamic of like the your early life? Like I guess I would want to know for any older man that's not married, not with any kids or anything like that, but he's on his purpose and all that. Um, I what was it like when you started your journey?
So when I started my journey, it was more of a learning. I think one of the things is I got exposed to a lot of learning, uh, non-college exposure, failures, succeeding, knowing what to say, how to say, when to say. I think that's great in relationships because crisis conflict is what you need to know as a husband. You have to know crisis conflict. You have to know how to stay away for the weekend and come back on Monday. Um, this is what you got to do because the goal for being together is so that you can push the kids forward. It's not about yourself. So I did a lot of my traveling, and by 30, I started waking up. So by 30, I had all my little successes and failures, all my freaky ways, all that stuff was out of my system by 30. So when I fell in love at 30, okay, I can deal with this. I can deal with this until she put me in a position where I'm like, sweetheart, don't do that. You're going against the team. Because every time you do that, you get stuck, and then you asking me to stop what I'm doing to get you out of it when I asked you not to do that in the first place. Well, I just thought, no, sweetheart, you didn't just thought because we could have talked about that and came to a team decision. What you're doing is you're still trying to operate like an individual and then coming back when you screw up to have a team get you out of it. That's not fair. And what you're going to mess around and have me do is pack up all my stuff. It's going to hurt me, but I will leave.
So would you say that you with all your experiences and everything that's happened and everything that your failures, your successes, all that, would you say you have like a higher or even a certain level of discernment for who's for you and who isn't?
Well, I have mastered my penis. I know that sounds strange, but it's really important for it's no, let me explain. It's important for you and other younger women to understand. A dude that is not led by his penis makes way better decisions. Way
Okay.
I have been in situations where I was with my ex fiance and I was around butt naked women. Oh, I got to get out of here. I got to get out of here, fellas. Oh man, your girl ain't gonna know. Yeah, but I'm gonna know, and then I'm gonna have to lie to her. Nah, let me just remove myself. You see
Wow.
my point?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm thinking about the team more than I'm thinking about myself. A guy who has not mastered his penis, he's gonna put himself in an argument every time. So that's my way of answering that question. You have
Okay.
you have to master your need for sexuality as a dude because it really needs to be put all into this woman. It really needs to. In order for your children to benefit, it really needs to be put into this woman. And if that's not the case, that's okay. But you can't do stuff to jeopardize the team. You can't. I saw one of my good friends cheating on his wife one day. And I said, dude, dude, you are real sloppy. I drove by the club the other day, saw you standing in line with that girl. Bruh, you got three boys, dude. What are you doing? Do you need me to hire you an escort so you can get a hotel and you just get that out your system? Because, bruh, you got an investment. See, listen to how I'm answering your question. I'm answering from a team point of view, a lineage children point of view, a legacy point of view. What are your thoughts?
Well, that I'm glad you answered my question that way because I like to. I'm one of those people that like to consider all the aspects, and um I'm one of those people that like details. I think Omega said that about me before that I do like details. So I just like to learn. I'm one of those people that like I guess somebody might can call me a sapiosexual or whatever. I still don't all the way feel like that term is should I don't think the term sexual should be applied to that. Maybe it should be I don't know sapio romantic or something. But it basically for me I just love to learn from people. I love to
Well, well, there is a sapio-romantic, but there truly is a sapiosexual. Sapiosexual doesn't happen until you're super in tune with the other person. There,
I
there,
see.
there is a sapiosexual because uh, uh, take for example, you may have a woman who does not normally take charge, but for example, my ex fiance, we had this thing of no matter how tired we are, we're going to supply the other one sex if they need it. And we had two different shifts. When she was getting off work, coming to sleep, I'm getting up work, finna go home. I'm finna go to work, right? One day she comes home early. I want to say like 3, 4 in the morning. She wants some pipe. Guess what? Ugh, honey, get on top. Uh, and she got it, and she did what she need. You see what I'm saying? And
That
while you
yeah.
and it's my woman though. This is my counterpart. This ain't some chick. It's a totally different understanding of it. That's the sapiosexual part. This is mine.
Okay.
We are in unison. You know what I'm saying? So that's what that's how it transfers from the romantic to the sexual because the unison is so great. If that makes any sense.
Mhm. Yeah, that actually reminds me of like a recent stand up that Chris Rock, that he's always been ahead of his time. I feel like Chris Rock has always said things that were just completely explicitly true. He was talking about relationships and how sex basically he said something along the lines of every problem a man and a woman has in the relationship they had from the very beginning. They just weren't having sex back then, and they're not now, or something like that. And yeah, so I thought that was interesting. Said just he was basically saying do it even when it don't feel like it's an obligation, but do it anyway. Because that's your person. I don't know if anyone saw that episode, that stand up on Netflix, but he said a lot of good things about relationships in there. A lot of
Well,
true
he
things.
before him and his wife divorced, he was doing a lot of stuff, and she was doing a lot of stuff to make that situation coexist. But like I try to tell all dudes, uh, control your penis. Because if you don't want to have all these kids, enjoy your marriage first. Enjoy your marriage first. That's the first thing you got to do. You got to get those 3 to 5 years of just enjoying your marriage before you have any kids. Because you need to know, can I coexist with this person for 5 years? Because the first 1 or 3 years might be great. It's that fifth year and that 7 year. That's why the white people call it the 7 year itch.
Hmm.
Now I have a couple of questions. So, what is it about older guys, appearance wise, that a 20?
Distinguished. Like
Hmm?
the distinguished look. Me, my mother and I and my best friends and I have talked about this recently. We say that a lot of men grow into their looks. A lot of men truly age like wine, and what we notice is a lot of women. Like if you want to bring up the wall argument, a lot of women who might not have taken care of their looks in their youth, the wall hits them faster or whatnot. But a lot of men kind of like Chardonnay get better over time, and that's something very appealing to me and my mother, and stuff. And we do talk about people like Sean Connery and rest in peace. But back when in the days of Entrapment with Catherine Zeta-Jones, I was 8 years old looking at this guy like, wow, he's you know distinguished. And then Idris Elba's and the Shamar Moore type, yeah, those men look just very distinguished, very put together. They have that kind of suave kind of thing going on. It's not sloppy at all. Everything about it is just put together. Their look, and I can name plenty of other older men that look like that. But those are the three that I'm thinking of right now. But yeah, a lot of older men just they just seem very together, and also the demeanor. The demeanor makes the whole thing come together. Personally, like um, I've talked to older men, not like in a romantic relationship, but like just like in general, and that look good. They're put together, and the things they're saying is just like it's like speaking to my soul, and they could just be talking about something random, something that I'm not necessarily interested in or wasn't interested in before they started talking about it. That they have that it factor for me.
I've always been, I'm 5'10, but I've always been fascinated with short guys who command the room.
Hmm.
That's always been very interesting to me because it's a sense of what he's achieved, his connections, and people feel like they can make money with him. I've always been fascinated with that. There are certain short guys, whether they white, black, Asian, they command the room, and it's a very interesting thing to see. And mostly, like I said, because connections, they've proven themselves, things of that regard. The first time I saw it was an engineer. Engineer kicked it, came to work to sleep, basically. But when something broke down, they got on that. They started digging into it like it was a math puzzle, and we, we ain't worked in 6 hours. It's broken down, but we still getting paid. They still working on it. By the next day, fully functional. Oh yeah, we stayed here all night, man, and I never questioned union workers ever again in my life. I said, "Oh, I see why some people kick back in unions and other people don't. These people, they are willing to never come home, work the whole night through to get the problem solved. Ain't no, hey, we'll come back in the morning. This punch out time. No, no. They got there at 6 in the morning. The problem happened. They stayed 8 hours. They worked into the next shift. They worked into the night, and they had it fixed by the next morning. Those are the type of men that women need to marry. What are your thoughts?
Oh yeah, definitely. The ability to push through, work hard. The perseverance, all that stuff that you just said about really like having a level of responsibility and meeting the requirements plus some for that level of responsibility that they had. That is because women need to marry those type of men because they're going to go above and beyond. People that you see go above and beyond at work and stuff like that, and also taking care of their own selves personally, they tend to go above and beyond with a lot of other things. Because what I noticed on the flip side of that is that people that slack with certain things like their hygiene or work, they're going to slack in other areas as well, and that probably would include a romantic relationship. Not saying they're going to hit the mark on everything, but that it's highly likely that they're going to be productive in more facets of their life and whatever whenever you enter their life and you as well than they would if it was the opposite.
Now, let me ask you a question. Maybe it's something you've seen. Somebody in the chat room brought up a great point. When you see a fat white guy or a fat Latin guy with an attractive younger woman, do you think it's just for the money?
A fat white guy would attract you. It does appear that way a lot. It really does. It's very hard to not think that, even for somebody who might want to see things objectively. You never know unless you talk to that person, but it does appear that, yeah,
I'm
that
glad you said that. I'm glad you said it. You don't know until you talk to that person. Well, you would be amazed to find that many Latin and white women prefer guys with girth.
wow.
This community doesn't, so it's strange to us. But I go salsa dancing. A lot of big guys out there.
Mm.
Normal. You may find some slim and attractive dudes, but mostly everybody's average, big, and short.
Personally, the reason why I wouldn't, as a woman, want somebody that had a curved stomach like that is because it signifies, like, to me, a lack of health. Objectively speaking, it is. If you're in a space like I am, the sports field and all that,
True,
you know
true,
that that's not healthy.
true.
And so I'm not sure why they
Especially,
like it.
especially for you, you got to take that person to events with you.
Right. So yeah, I personally wouldn't, just because they have to have some kind of, they don't have to look perfect, but they don't have to, look like they have a gut, like somebody look like they're pregnant or hiding a basketball under their stomach. That's not attractive to me because that's not the picture of health that I have in my head for a man or even myself. I wouldn't want to look like I was pregnant if I really wasn't. you
Very
know.
true. We have
So
15 minutes more of our show. I got two more questions that I'm gonna let you ask your questions. Uh, I'm glad you had the courage to go against other women. I find that other women are trying to destroy. Um, when a black man likes a fat woman, we don't sit up here and get on him about it. We don't bully him about it. When a black man likes a tall woman who may not be attractive to us, we don't beat him up about it. That's your chick. You might got 1 or 2 guys, maybe 20 guys say something, but most of us don't say nothing. Why does the female community seem that all it does these days is use the internet to attack? Because I've seen them attack other women for not doing what they feel they should be doing.
Right. So your question is why do women attack other women for having preferences like mine?
Yeah.
It's just it's a stigma. I really think like that dynamic, that personal that relationship dynamic of an older man and a younger woman in the Black community is like stigmatized. I'm still I need to do more research, but I am desperately trying to find the reason why there's a stigma because it's obvious. Um, and so from what I know from talking to certain women when they say because like I've just done it. I've just expressed to women I know that I'm interested in older men. I just see their reactions, you know, and these are Black women. I always express that too. See, if I've said it to a couple white women and they were like, "Oh, okay," you know. And so yeah, the one I told you about that wasn't that one in Black men in high school, but she was pregnant this past year. Um, when I told her that I was interested in the 32-year-old way back in the fall semester, not the fall semester, last spring actually. I told her I was interested in a 32-year-old man, and we were gonna go on a date on Friday. She was like saying, "Oh, okay," you know, but the Black girl next to her said 32. You know, she was she was like, "And how old are you?" I said 20. I was 22 at the time actually. I had not turned 23 yet, but I was like, yeah, it was just it was funny because I was just saying, you know, what I was saying to her, I was like, oh, well, I just like older men. She was like, oh, okay. And, you know, some of them have that reaction, that adverse reaction. And it's so weird, you know. Even an older woman, she was an older biracial woman that was in my class. And I said, hey, I'm interested in this older man. And I didn't say older man, I just said interested in this guy. And she asked me immediately how old he was. And that's when I said he was an older man. He was 32. And she was like saying, you know, she kind of had a like this reaction to it. I said that with another I had a conversation in the laundry room with a lady. I don't know if she's older than me. She might be a little bit older than me, but she was Black. And I said that I am interested in older men, and she was like, "Oh, okay, okay." Like they have this reaction, and I dare not ask. I mean, I want to, but I like each time I they give me this reaction like, "Oh, she likes older men," you know, like what, you know, unless I know them and I'm friends with them, then they'll be more vocal. I'm really good friends with them, then they'll be more vocal about why. So when I talked about with my best friend like why I'm into Ultraman, she was like saying I don't care how fit or how what you call it they are. That's just too old. Not for me. I don't think so. And all this stuff. And she was basically just kind of like gaslighting my whole argument. You know, she was saying that I don't care how suave or how established all that stuff. You know,
I'm just
and
curious.
so I just
Why didn't you dig deeper with it? Why didn't you ask her for specifics on why it
because
was
it
so?
was you know why? Because she's the type that if I try to do stuff like that, she'll get defensive. And it's
Ah,
yeah,
she
it's
doesn't want
already
to
very
tell the truth.
uncomfortable.
She doesn't want to
Yeah.
tell the truth. And I
hmm
guarantee the truth is I can't control those dudes.
I think so. I get that. I've gotten that vibe from her because she's actually messed around with younger men than
Hmm.
her. Yeah.
She can't
And I was
control.
like, oh,
You know,
yeah. So
what's so amazing to me is when you have intimacy with a woman who's very mouthy or controlling in the real world, they're the ones that the most sexually submissive. And it's a very weird thing because I always look at that as a defense mechanism. Like I'm mouthy and I'm popping off and I'm checking in with my girlfriends and I'm always saying something to hide the insecurity of I'm a flower. I want to be protected. I really don't. And what's so crazy is like I told my recent girlfriend because she said, you know, I hope to be at peace and humble like you. And I said, with me, relationships are, if the man, however the man is, if he's a chaotic, he'll have a chaotic a relationship. If the man is peaceful and structured, the woman wants to be water. She wants to form around this rock, but he got to be stable. He got to be a rock. If not, then she's going to do like water does. She's going to flow, and she's going to turn into a raging river because this rock is not stable. It's actually sand. No woman wants to be water and be rubbing up against a rock that's actually sand. Now she's like, why am I here? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, being the water, I think what you're trying to say is being a man's piece. Is that what you're basically
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I think that's important. Men carry a heavy burden from the time they're born. So there's a lot of there's just a lot of societal pressure that goes into the mindset of a man and what he has to do and how he needs to be and all that stuff. And being with a combative woman, there's no point in being in a relationship. Actually, I understand a lot of these men when they say they'd rather just be alone, because a combative woman, that's more of a headache than just being alone with all the rest of the issues that they got going on in their life.
Right.
And so personally, if I were to go into a relationship, I would keep in mind that I don't want to be a headache to this man. And I would want to carry myself in a way that compliments him instead of embarrasses him or makes him feel like really low. Because what else is being in a loving relationship for, other than facilitating joy and peace and happiness and stuff like that. That's what we're all here for. Well, that's what we all need anyway. I shouldn't say that's what we're all here for, but that's what a lot of humans need, or every human needs. I feel like a lot of humans will say that they don't need anybody, they don't want to get married, they don't want to do this and stuff. That's fine, they can lie to themselves. Personally, I feel like a lot of people that say they don't want to, they just given up because they haven't seen any better. They haven't experienced better.
Absolutely. That's well said. I'm going to pause you for 1 second. Ladies and gentlemen, put yourself on pause. Please donate to the channel. This was a great interview. We're going to our last question. We're going to let Miss Taylor ask some questions or finish out. This is what you guys want. You want more intellectual stuff. You want Mr. Research to do more of these intellectual interviews and what have you. Please look out the one I did with the white guy. I'm trying to get one with an Indian guy. We're going to have some detailed conversations, and I'm going to try to get with the gentleman later today, and have one about Africans. The things Africans don't know about America or never paid attention to, like our German shepherds that used to chase us, or the fact that we were beat up in the streets just for wearing a suit. All that type of crazy stuff. So it shall be interesting for us to go down that river. So I'm going to put you on pause, let you get a small break, 30 seconds, and we'll be right back, Ms. Taylor.
All right.
Okay, and we're back. So, as an older guy, I'm going to say this for a lot of people out there. If you're looking for older dudes, make sure you get the dudes who are established. Make sure you get the dudes who understand conflict management. When you're interacting with a woman and all her zips and zos, you got to make sure she's that. And for you women who are trying to get with established dudes, make sure you understand his culture. Make sure you understand the culture of him, where he comes from, his history, his grandfather's history, if he's connected, and also where he's trying to go legacy wise. This stuff is important. Many times, women, the guy doesn't know who he is until you help re chisel him. That's a very fact. Uh, Taylor, you have any closing questions?
Yeah, actually, what you said about the next live or that you were gonna do was interesting because I had a conversation with my dad about foreign black men. There was a man that he's friends with from the Caribbean that asked him a really ignorant question like, why are y'all so messed up over here? Like, why don't y'all have generational wealth or anything? And my dad had to explain to him Jim Crow. And he said, and like I was like, wait, your friend didn't know what Jim Crow was? And he said he's from
No,
the Caribbean. I was like,
not
wow.
at all. No, most people, white people believe that black people are children. You have any idea why they would say that?
Well, if we're going back to the Margaret Sanger days and stuff with Planned Parenthood and all that, she used the term feeble-minded to describe black men and women, and that's why she had a lot of them sterilized because she didn't think they could take. Not only could they not take care of themselves, they definitely couldn't take care of offspring. That's her talking point, and from a
Well,
eugenicist standpoint.
well, here's the corporate reason. Because black people live in the present. They don't know anything about history, their history, or their enemy's history.
Right.
That's why they look at them as children.
Mm.
So every time a black person comes into a situation, they only looking at it from the standpoint of now, what it is like in now, what it is like present. Let me get this coin. White people, Asian people don't look at it like that, especially Asian people. They look at stuff like 10 year, 20 year down the road. They will take a crap house and say, imagine what's going to be like in 10 years. Oh, I was able to do it in 5. Look, I can brag to the rest of my Asians.
Yeah, and my dad has a different mindset than most. I guess what your sentiments are. Most black people, he thinks he does believe in the whole future and like he's thinking grandkids, great grandkids type of thing. He said yes, my dad is trying to invest in stocks. He actually got a second job just so he can raise a certain amount of money, so he could invest in stocks.
See, it's not about him. Who is it about? Y'all.
Yeah.
It's not about him. My father passed away, and I moved back to California to find out that my sisters, who've had government jobs for over 30 years, are doing nothing for my mother.
Wow.
The house was in a shambles. Everything was terrible. Matter of fact, when it came time to bury my father, none of these women had any money. I had to shell out $13,000. You see, no, it's not sad. It's what black men are constantly thinking about our women. So when we do find one, even if your nose is round or your nose is pointed, we're like, I'm glad I got Susie, man. Shit. Yeah, but Susie fat at one of her breasts. But she's my girl though. I mean, she been with me. You get it. I mean, these are the conversations dudes have amongst dudes. Oh, I cheated on her one time, man. I felt so bad. Oh, Jesus Christ. You know what I'm saying? When you know you got a chick in the only people who don't appreciate the woman in his corner is the dudes who are 50-50 dudes. Dudes who are 60-40, 70-30, man, I ain't trying to mess that up, man. I'm good. I'm good. I get my meals, I get my blowjobs, I get a good conversation. Every now and then I got to deal with her blah 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 ways, but other than that, I'm straight, man. I ain't trying to go back out there. It's just, but you gotta sow all your oats before you're 30, though. You got to get that out your system. Matter of fact, I got to invite you back for what high value men say. But let me give you this one tidbit. When you're a woman, you need to ask some of these guys, maybe on the third or fourth phone conversation, as he got all his fantasies out the way. If this guy still got lingering sexual fantasy, he ain't ready. He ain't ready. Because it'll be it'll be that situation. That situation is going to come up. That threesome, that foursome, Latin chicks, white chicks, each Egyptian chicks. He needs to go get that out of his system.
Right.
And what's amazing to me is for guys who don't have their money right, like I tell dudes, just go pay $100, $200 and go buy it. Oh man, you tricking. No. I'm getting it out of my system. You can't go into a coupling with somebody still thinking about the threesome with the white chicks. Go get it out your system.
Yeah.
Because when you come back over here, and the same thing I say for women, if you still thinking, well, I need this amount of inches, you need to go get that out your system before you go interacting this stuff over here. Because over here is about the kids and it's about work.
Yeah.
That's what everybody don't like hearing in regards to relationships and marriage. This stuff is about work.
Yeah, because you won't be satisfied if you still have that lust. That's like walking into your favorite restaurant and they don't have your favorite menu item. You're gonna want to leave. You're not gonna be satisfied.
No. You're gonna deal with the food that's there because you're too lazy to leave and you're too broke to go pay for where you need to pay for.
Well, I said you're gonna want to leave. I didn't say you would leave.
Okay. Yeah. That's the crazy thing. It's like somebody heard, because I put on I took it off of YouTube, but I put on the thing where the girl was saying, I want to, this one sexual lady who I know, she was on the phone, I want to serve black men and blah blah blah. And my point for posting it on YouTube was like, I get this all the time. I'm not interested. It's not that amazing to me. You gotta get with dudes who the sexuality ain't their number one concern. You got to do that. You got to get with dudes who they see they can. Okay, put it this way: if you guys get together, you guys are supposed to double or triple what you have within 4 to 5 years. Let's say it don't work out. Y'all shake hands and y'all split the assets, right? Y'all better off than what y'all was married, right? But if y'all getting together because one of y'all want to control the other one, now that's a problem. If y'all getting together because you thought he was cute and he thought, that's a problem. You only supposed to get together because it benefits. That's why Indians, they don't marry each other because they're cute. They marry into the family. Now my family's connected to your family. Your family owns that Chevron over there, and I want to buy a Citgo gas station. Let me get connected to your uncle through this marriage. That's what it's all about. But it's hard for black folks to understand that, Taylor, because they don't want to understand classism. What are your thoughts?
Classism, yeah, I'm starting to understand that a lot better. I'm glad I dropped in on the stream, because a lot of people that I know focus more on racism than classism, and but that keeps us stagnant in a way, we don't see the bigger picture a lot of times. Even my dad, who believes in the future generations, he's still kind of stuck on how the white man is setting us back and all that stuff. And I believe that, yeah, if we focus more on like generating stable, income, and income that's like more than, more than enough to last our families. Like, because that's why I want to own a business. My brother is into entrepreneurship as well. He's 18. And he wants to. He's on YouTube as well. He has a Twitch and all that stuff. He does gaming, but he also is trying to go to school to become an entrepreneur. He just graduated from high school. And so I'm into that as well in the sports sector, because that's something that I have like knowledge on. And I've always been interested in the sports sector. And as a matter of fact, I live in Denton, Fort Worth, Keller. That's where I grew up, but I live in Denton for school. I want to move to somewhere like Dallas or Houston, somewhere that's heavily populated with Black people. So the majority of them can get the services, the benefits from my store, and also my personal training. I heard that Dallas is actually a hotspot for personal trainers, and they can make bank over there, Houston as well. And so personally, I would like to, and I would like to marry someone who is business minded as well. To be honest, somebody who understands the importance of that, or somebody who just understands the importance of generating a lot of income, and understands facilitating. Because I would love to, close to the end of my life, have my family members take over my store if it's still standing, which I would hope it would be, if I make the right investments.
Well, let me give you a bit of advice. I would hire a actor, a male actor, through Craigslist. And I would just pay that male actor maybe $50 or $100 to give you some tips on method acting. Something you can't read in a book. The actual tip on how to change your character and personality at the drop of a dime. And then switch back to who you really are. Here's why. I think you'll do well in sports management, but you're gonna have to go in as a confident, dictative type of personality.
I see what you're saying. It's going to be hard to turn it off. I think that's what you're saying. It's going to be hard to turn it off.
No, because every client is either a pompous kid or a overzealous adult.
Mm-hmm.
I knew a guy in Atlanta who had a farm. He would he had a condo, and it's like 3-bedroom condo, and he would get these kids who almost got drafted but wanted to be in the league, and he would get them and give them more development, have them go to parties, what not to do, all that type of stuff, right? And he would try to ship them out to B-League teams for a profit. When you meet those type of individuals, you got to be a matter-of-fact type of woman with your business.
Yeah, and personally, I feel like I'm already like a matter-of-fact type of person, because the way I speak to people with certain things, they actually take it the wrong way, because let me give an example.
Well, before you do, the only reason I say that, and I know we're not having a professional conversation, you got to remove the out of your professional life. I know you probably don't do that, but I need for you, when you have business conversations, make sure that part of you is removed.
Yeah, that's a filler word I've had since childhood, and I do need to work on that. There was a speech language pathology major that pointed that out to me. And it had been years since somebody even mentioned that to me, but she was in my class next to me. She said, "Hey, just FYI, you say a lot. That's a filler word, and it comes across as you might come across as basically incompetent, or somebody that doesn't know." And she gave me a tip on like what to like do, and if I get stuck. She said just
Right.
pause. She said basically
Long,
just
long
pause.
pauses. Long pauses.
Mhm. And I always thought long pauses was kind of awkward, you know. I thought
No,
they had to be flowy, you know.
no, no, not in business. In business and professional, people want you to talk. You as an entrepreneur, you need your 3-second sale, and you need to be able to hear a customer complaint, and through your knowledge, hit them with a 30-second answer that's so strong they like, oh yeah, I got to give you my money, most definitely.
Right.
But say nothing else, because sometimes people be like smiling and no, he's this $100,000 a year Italy player is coming to you to fix a problem. Yeah, he might be smiling about his hamstring, but he needs that fixed.
Yeah. So basically, you keep it professional and short and brief.
Very short. Matter of fact. Hold on. Hold your hand up. Tilt your nails. Let me see. Now look straight. Look straight. Don't talk. Look straight. Let me work here. That's how you got. And see, that lets a person know, oh, she's serious.
Mm-hmm.
She's serious. Well, that seems like the blah blah blah, but we're gonna have to set you an appointment so that we can see more. Because you got to separate yourself as a unique brand. You you got a lot of white women in your field, and they're using the blonde hair and the smile and the blowjobs on the side. No kidding.
Yeah.
You got
One thing I have been afraid of, well, maybe not afraid of, but wary of, is how I might come across as like incompetent because I do
that's
use
why the
clothes
act.
that
That's
food.
why I'm sorry to cut you, Taylor. That's why the actor is going to help you.
Okay.
That's why I mentioned it. If you start with the actor early to make sure that you can switch to a more confident professional demeanor, I mean, you may end up creating an alter ego named Timmy, a guy that's about his shit. He don't, you feel me? And then once
Mm-hmm.
you punch out, you back to Taylor. But as soon as you turn these office lights on, you're Timmy, and you about that life.
Can we change that to Tammy?
No, because as an actor, you need to be able to take on alter egos that are not representative of you.
Oh no, but the reason I said that is because I knew a woman back in Florida named Tammy who was she was very abrasive, but
Uh-huh.
she was also at the same time she was kind of she was well, I should say she was assertive. She was very direct and which is a lot of things. A lot of people say women are not direct in their answers. She was very direct in her answers. Like if you asked her, do you think this about me? That she'd be like, yes, and I'll tell you why. That kind of thing. So I remember her name was Tammy. So
Oh, okay. Yeah,
yeah.
no matter what you choose, it's just there's an art form. Just like people say, Mr. Research is arrogant. No, I'm not arrogant. I'm just convinced on how things work. And really, I'm a very joking type of guy. But if I'm not in those environments, you feel me?
Hmm.
I'm not doing it. So, you just gotta kind of look at it from that standpoint. Um, so we're
Thank you.
wrapping up. We're wrapping up. Any other final questions?
Oh no, I think I've learned a lot. It's been like what 2 hours and 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've learned a lot from this live, and thank you so much. Like, uh, my first impression of you when I heard you talking on Megas is that is on one of her lives is that you were a little I don't know I did feel like
Oh, you
low
can be
key.
honest. No, please be honest. Please be honest.
I did feel like you were a little abrasive, which is a step down from arrogant to me. I think
Mhm.
abrasive just you were you just kind of were rough with your opinions and all that. From what I was listening to what you were saying and all that, but when you reached out to like connect with me or whatever for this thing, I was like, okay, I'll give it a try because I'm willing. I'm one of those people that I'm not combative. I'm not gonna like just fight somebody. I feel like fighting people when women get, especially Black women, get on these spaces and try to like say, oh, well, you're wrong for this reason or whatever. I'm just like, no, I'm all about like the learning experience. So I wasn't afraid to like come on this like, and I've been on various people's lives. Like I've been on Kevin Samuels, I've been on Omega's, I've been on a bunch of people's lives. And I've just, I just take it as a learning experience. I go into it feeling like, oh, well, I'm probably going to learn a whole lot of stuff I didn't know previously, and I'm right every time.
Mhm.
So, that
People
if
always,
I'm not right about anything else, when I go into these spaces, I'm right about the fact that I'm going to learn something. And a lot of people are kind of bullheaded, and they think that they're going to teach something, and not learn anything. So.
Well, people always think I'm abrasive because they can't control the information, and it's like just have a conversation. I mean, my whole thing is when I have a conversation with people, I'm not trying to be nobody's boss. I'm not trying to show how smart I am. I'm saying what I'm saying in the hopes that you have different information.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I say what I say, is because I've researched this. I've looked at that. For example, Pew Research Center does not have any statistics, none. They have polls. They do telephone polling. That's not a stat. But people would know that because their narrative is to try to use Pew Research to fit a stat narrative. Well, Pew Research says, well, how can they? Because they telephone poll people. So that's only for the people that answered their telephone.
Mm-hmm.
So how valid is that telephone poll?
It's skewed, like,
Right,
because they could have hung up right after.
right. And then you'll have people tell me, well, they use other measures. Like what? I used to work at the CDC back in 2012. I know. So what do they use?
Hmm.
Well, I'm sure they use something. Okay, I'm going to tell you what they use because you don't know. See how I sound arrogant now?
Yeah.
Because I'm putting them in a place of something they don't really know,
Mm-hmm.
but they're saying it as if they do. And I say, well, they also use mailings.
And what's interesting, I do like I'm not gonna say I enjoy it, but I do find that I get things out of being put in conversations and situations where I don't know much than I do when I'm in conversations where I do know more things about, I find I get more out of that.
Right, right, true. Well, I'm going to invite you next time for something that we may do. And we'll see how that works too when I do more of a group scenario. In my group scenarios, I really run my boards so everybody gets to speak.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little different than just having mass speak. Sometimes I let the group just do its thing, but most of the time I make sure everybody gets a chance to speak. So
Thank you.
thank you. This has been a pleasure. I hope you got something from us older men who date younger women. We're not all bad. Uh, we just know what we're doing a little bit better than some other folks.
Yeah, I'm
Uh,
definitely gonna subscribe when I get off here. Thank you.
all right. Much love, lady. Have a good one. Peace out. To everybody else, thank you for coming in. For those people who hit the cash, just like Maurice hit the cash, we really appreciate it, man. Um, Maurice is doing big things now, making big moves. Glad he can come back over here. King Sigma and Ruby in the house, MC Worker, Inquisitive Prince. Much love, you guys, and thank you very much. I hope you learned something from this process. We older men are just winning. We're winning in a lot of ways, and it's the weirdest thing. Nobody. I just think that people want to put out this lie that we're suffering or something like that. And we, you know, what young girl wants an old man? I just laugh at it at this point, man, because I'm like the stuff people say just to convince young girls not to be with older guys. Matter of fact, it's so funny. Before COVID, I saw an older guy with gray hairs on his beard. He didn't have a beard. He had a goatee. And he was a slim guy. He was with a young white woman, and her father was taking the picture. I try to tell y'all, these people don't mind access to somebody's legacy, access to somebody's situation. Even African women, man. African women are like, hey, I'm trying to get with a situation, try to see what it can do. Hey, nobody's playing no more, man. Nobody's playing no more. All right, let me get out of here. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Much love. Peace.